Number one here, we got our first example. So look at your first example. Why don't you try it on your own if you want to? Be brave. Try it on your own if you can. But what we're looking at, we're going to have to get an idea of what we're talking about. So first things first, we have a scuba diver, and he's 30 feet below the surface of the water 10 seconds after he got in, after he entered. So I'm going to highlight those things. That's really important. So after 10 seconds, he is 30 feet below, that's important, the water. Okay. Next, he keeps swimming, and then he's 100 feet below the water after 40 seconds. Okay, after 40 seconds. So the first thing you really have to ask yourself is this: what are the 2 points? What are the 2 points that we need to create? The 2 points that we have to create here. And it's so important because if you don't identify what those 2 points are, we're never going to be able to figure out our slope. So hopefully you remember that we always want our x to be time. We always want our x to be time. So in our first point, our time was 10 seconds. So we have 10 seconds there. And our second point, our time was 100 seconds, right? So make sure you're putting time in the right place. That's so, so important. And now, here's the danger. The danger is that most of you, if you're not careful, are just going to throw in 30 and oops, I messed up here. Let's fix that. Let's fix that. Hopefully, you see my mistake. My time here wasn't actually 100. My time here was 40. So hopefully, you caught my mistake before I did. Our time here is 40 seconds. So don't mess that up like I did. Case in point, everyone makes mistakes. So the mistake I was talking about that I thought you would make would be you'd throw in 30 and 100 as my two distances, my 30 feet for 10 seconds and 100 feet for 40 seconds. Why is that wrong? Why do you think what I've got right there on the board is wrong? What do you think? Hopefully, you're recognizing that we underlined or highlighted the words below. The word below. So if you are below the surface, think about this for a second. If you are below the surface of the water, you're down here. Here's our little scuba diver. I'm not a good artist, right? Here's our little scuba diver. He's got his tank. His tank's on the back. That looks terrible. But anyway, if you are below the surface of the water, then the depth at which you are here, we're going to measure that in a negative feet because you're below the surface. This is negative 30. This is negative 100. Because you are below the surface of the water, those numbers need to be negative. Okay? So that's the first thing you want to watch out for. Don't make that mistake where you don't write your negatives. You've got to have negative. So now we jump in. Let's find that slope. Change in y. So the change in y is going to be negative 30. Oh, excuse me, negative 100 rather. Negative 100 minus negative 30 on top. Okay, that's our y2 minus our y1. That's right here, y2 minus our y1, all divided by our change in time, 40 minus 10. 40 minus 10. Okay, so if we simplify, that was our that was our x1 and our x2, x2, x1. Okay, so now if we simplify this, the bottom is pretty easy. 40 minus 10 gives me 30. But the top, got to be a bit more careful. You got to calculate what's going on there. You end up with, this becomes, right here, be careful. What happens when you have two negatives side by side? Two negatives side by side kind of conjoin to create a plus sign. It's because negative times negative is positive. So really what we're left with there is negative 100 plus 30, which is negative 70. Okay? So if we simplify this, first of all, 70 over 30, the negative 70 over 30 simplifies, the zeros are gone. So that's negative 7 over 3. But what does that really mean? Well, remember, we talked about this. The negative part of your slope is so important. What does that negative part mean? Well, what that negative part is telling us is that we are decreasing, decreasing, because we know it's negative. We are decreasing And how much are we decreasing? We're decreasing 7 feet every what? Every 3 seconds. 3 feet, 7 feet every 3 seconds. But it's so important that you make sure you write down decreasing. If you just write down 7 feet every 3 seconds, you're going to be wrong because you have to note that we're decreasing. So that's how we interpret our slope. Our slope, or our rate of change in this case, is we are decreasing 7 feet every 3 seconds. If you want to convert that into a decimal, 3 goes into 7 2 times. You're going to be left with about 2.333 repeating. So you're decreasing 2.3 feet every second if you wanted to go a little bit further. Let's do one more example together, and then you're going to be on your own for the rest. So here we go. A rocket is 1 mile above the Earth in 30 seconds, 5 miles above the Earth in 2.5 minutes. So once again, let's kind of create the connections here. 1 mile after 30 seconds. I'm just going to put that up here so you can see it. 30 seconds. And then 5 miles after 2.5 minutes. Now, does anyone see an issue with what we've got so far? Hopefully, you're recognizing, hold on a second, my time here is in seconds, and then my time here is in seconds, my time here is in minutes. That's a problem. We need it to be apples to apples, so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and convert them both to minutes. That's not too hard, right? Let me change that to my pen. It's not too hard to convert this into minutes. The 30 seconds, right? 30 seconds is equivalent to 0.5 minutes. That's not hard at all. So let's write down our 2 points. Press pause for me and write down our 2 points. What are these 2 points? Alrighty, so hopefully you've had a chance to try and figure out what your 2 points are. Share them with a neighbor. What are your 2 points? Make sure you think you got them. See what you got. My first point is going to be this 0.5 minutes and this 1 mile. So my point is time comes first. Time comes first. 0.5 is my time, and my distance is 1 mile. So I'm not even really have to write the mile in there. I'm just going to put 1. What's my next point? My next point is the 5 miles, and the 2.5 minutes. Time comes first, 2.5. Distance is 5 miles. So now we've got to find our rate of change. So our rate of change, y2 minus y1, all over x2 minus x1. Let's label these. This is x1, y1, x2, y2. So if we set this up in our equation, slope equals y2 minus y1, 5 minus 1, all over x2 minus x1, 2.5 minus 0.5. Simplify that down, we're left with 5 minus 1 is 4. 2.5 minus 0.5 is 2. That equals 2 if we simplify. Now, clarify what that means. What that means is this was our miles on top, and this was our seconds on the bottom right here. So excuse me, not seconds, that was minutes. My mistake. Minutes on the bottom. So what this means is that we are increasing 2 miles every minute. So if we put that into words, if we summarize that in words as a sentence, our sentence would be that the altitude or the height increases 2 miles per minute. Per minute. There you go. Our height, the height of our rocket, is increasing 2 miles every minute. All right. Good luck with the rest of these questions. Check your answers with the answer key provided. And good luck to you. You can do this.